Now we're being
Welcome to
recorded.
Recordando. The theme is remembering your dreams. Recordando tus sueños. And our first poet to present tonight is Richard Loranger. And yes, we've had lots of great conversation prior to starting this recording. Sorry you missed that part. Richard, the mic is all yours.
Who's Mike? I can never figure out who Mike is. Sorry. Well, this isn't Sueños though, but maybe there'll be Sueños later for me. But because I kind of swerved this into talking about something I've been writing about, not really intentionally because we were just chatting. But so I have this new book called Mammal, yay, and there's ordering up in the chat. But not everybody knows why I would call it Mammal. It's poetry and flash prose about all kinds of things, including about sort of what I'm going to talk about, partially part of which is identity and self, and how we see our lives. And so I mentioned it to someone last week at an art opening, someone I didn't know. Oh, I have a new book. Oh, what's it called? Oh, it's called Mammal. And she said, oh, is that because you like animals? And I said, no, it's because I'm a mammal. And and she said, oh, what's that, Tammy?
Oh,
You're on mute.
because you invited us to let you know. I said, what an asshole thing to say.
I know. Well, okay, but I wrote this little essay the last day or so, and I did want to hear if you have reactions to it, and because I think it's kind of something that's very hard for me to talk about in phrase in some places and not in others. Um, and but and I wrote it to put on my website this coming month when I have the book release for Mammal, and I wrote a bunch of little things about Mammal. Here's Lorraine. Lorraine, I'm about to trigger everyone, and I hope that'll be okay with you. So I'm gonna try let hi Lorraine. I don't know if you heard, but I'm going to read this. Okay, it's why I identify as mammal. And by the way, if everyone here, because I trust you guys, if you say, don't fucking put that on your website or something like that, I'll do that. But I wanted to try to get this something wanted to get out. Okay. So, and we'll see if it came out okay. I find identity selection to be problematic, partially because it shouldn't be a selection, it should just be. I should know it. For instance, they say I'm a white male, but whether I want to identify as one or even be one is another matter. I am undeniably white, for sure, what has been called Caucasian and European American, though the latter is less certain since I'm 1/4 Russian Jew and ancestrally beyond several generations. I have no idea. Um, but I am white and acutely aware of white privilege, which I resist and disdain. And I get angry when I find it's been a factor in my situation or my behavior, which is certainly something that happens. But I was sure raised into it starting in 1960 and into white American culture in general, which is what? Consumerism, competition, rote Christianity. Anyone who knows me knows that I can't stand organized team sports, which I see as a subtext for the artificial hierarchies of social oppression. That I can't stand shopping and have been known to lose my shit in an IKEA. That I abhor uncritical adherence to ideology, which certainly doesn't mean all Christians or other belief systems. I did say rote, but does include irrational and fear-driven political and social stances. The latter does extend beyond white culture, but you get the idea. I never could find any meaning in the endless trudge from sports field to church to mall. So yes, I'm white, but it doesn't bring me pride or joy. And I'm male, as I've mentioned, male assigned at birth, as we say, cis male, I guess. I present as male to most, but that itself doesn't feel like me. Presentation doesn't feel important enough to be a pivot. Maybe that's because I'm also non binary. That I do know. always have been, though I didn't have the language for it until the last 10 years or so. So that's something. But I don't feel the need to present as anything in particular. Gender doesn't feel performative to me or for me. It just feels like it is. It's there. It's a consistent feeling and has been for a long time. So I guess that qualifies as identity of sorts, given what the word actually means. But it still doesn't feel like it's everything that it's all I am. Besides, to me, non-binary doesn't feel like not one, but both or in between, which a lot of people mean, because the number two doesn't resonate for me in this either. I don't feel a sense of two genders, nor any particular number. So gender-wise, I suppose I'm more non-numerical than non-binary. I could be wrong, but I don't suspect there are a lot of people who share this experience, and I wonder how many it would take to qualify as a group to identify with non-numerical gender. In regard to sexual attraction or preference, I'm mostly homo, but not entirely, historically at least a wee bit bi. But I'm also gray, that is gray sexual to some extent, and more so as I've gotten older. I often require affection for interest and arousal, generally always have, except on certain substances which I don't use anymore. Gray and asexual folks have often been marginalized within the broader gay culture, among other cultures, and I've certainly experienced being othered by more physically focused gay men. Consequently, I've never considered sexual attraction and practice to be core or central to my being or self-conception, and my social interactions have not usually been centrally focused on gay culture, though it is important to me, of course, as are gay and trans and queer plus rights and acceptance. Still, however or wherever on the queer spectrum I identify, and I do identify as queer, I think of myself much more broadly as human. Now, there's a complicated one. Do I identify as human? Hard not to, I suppose, meaning Homo sapiens, at least, well, with the whole walking upright with opposable thumbs and speech centers thing, which might be a hubristic definition from the get-go. In fact, maybe hubris is Homo sapiens' most defining characteristic. But seriously, and that was serious, what a messed up species, with all its destruction and denial and animosity and manipulation and on and on. I might identify as human or this body as Homo sapiens. There's definitely seems to be a pattern here, but much like the whole white thing, that doesn't mean I'm pleased about it or consider it to be fundamentally what I am or feel like I am on this planet. So where does that leave me? I had a friend in high school, Dave Riley, ended up being in lots of punk bands, who once told me that his goal in life was to become a successful mammal. Somehow that always stuck with me. When I first started considering the idea and act of identity 20 some years ago, that comment came to mind. I realized that whatever else I might be, I definitely identify as mammal. To wit, I am pleased and comfortable being hirsute. I sniff things. I like to growl. I like nipples. More than anything, it just feels right. I instantly like and relate to most mammals. I often feel I can empathize with them and that they're capable of empathizing with me. Well, maybe not cows. They're dumb and scary. But then again, so are many humans. It's much the same with plants, but that's another discussion for another time. Lizards, birds, and fish, not so much. Ever try to empathize with an iguana? Find one and gaze into its eyes and try to connect. And I'm sure there are some who feel they can and do. Rock on. But for me, mammals and mammalian state hit the spot. When I consider it, that feels exactly what I am. When I mention this in public, I'm usually not taken seriously. Some people laugh thinking I'm making a joke. Some laugh thinking I'm ridiculous. Well, some think that without laughing, turn away, or change the subject. One person commented, "This perspective comes from white privilege." That person was also white. And maybe that's to some extent true. I have been attacked for being white and for being queer, both physically and otherwise, on numerous occasions, but not with enough frequency to be called consistent. And it's certainly in no way comparable to the experience of, say, Black persons or flamboyant gay men. So maybe I've been able to arrive at this from a position of relative safety, but it doesn't make it any less an arrival, a valid perspective, an identification, and it is certainly not a joke. Here's the thing, and this is the end part. I don't know if this is working or not, but we identify with various groups on various levels, on different levels, starting, say, with family, like it or not. Within a given identification group, people have their complex human interactions. They nurture, they squabble, they fight like hell. But insult or attack that family from outside, and chances are you'll be in for a world of hurt. Say that's a Jewish family that supports and disagrees with other Jewish families within their community, perhaps with more disagreement with other branches of Judaism, but attack Jews in general, a common pastime in America, and you'll meet a unified front. The broader the identification group, the more likely those within it are to empathize and less likely they are to shun or other. And within that group, their affiliations with more specific groups are likely stronger. As a mammal, I can't help but hold humans closer to my heart, despite our differences and the fact that they sometimes hit or maim or oppress or appall me. These things happen every day in the family to which we belong. It is for this reason, above all others, that I encourage and espouse identifying as mammal. For those who came in the middle of that, I have no idea what you just heard or if it made any sense at all. Anyway, that's sort of what poured out of me the last day or so. It's hard for me to talk about. I just realized I put it on the internet on recording, so I'm doomed. I welcome any comments.
Thank you, Richard. I hate shopping too, and I hate shopping as a noun. Wait, is that a noun? Like shopping as a pastime, you know. I go to stores to acquire things that I need to function, but as far as it being like a pastime, like Saturday we're going shopping, that makes me ill. You know, I'd rather go ice skating, which I'm not very good at, but that's me.
Yeah, I refer to that as part of what the white culture that I grew up with, you know, it's really obviously very Western and capitalist culture. But you know, anyway, did that make me sound like an asshole? Anyone may say yes. Dude, Tammy,
Well, I've noticed that very few people are opposed to mammals. You know, that's an inclusive, even though the fact is that our human bodies have more non-mammalian DNA in them than they have mammalian DNA in them. So microbes, you know, they allow us to live.
Yeah, I like microbes.
I don't know how many humans actually consider themselves to be mammals because they don't even recognize themselves to be animals.
Yeah, this is a post-humanist perspective, Lorraine. That's sort of for you guys who jumped in. That piece was called "Why I Identify as Mammal." It's really just kind of looking at a post-humanist perspective that, you know, that tries to eliminate that whole humanist idea of humans being separated from nature.
I find it really interesting. I like to notice just among the people I interact with, because those are mostly the people that I get to glean from. In other words, I'm not, in front of masses of people constantly, but it seems that there's an uptick in this kind of sensibility about wanting to enmesh or otherwise kind of start vibing with non-human things. Some people call them better than human things, like animals, maybe even plants. So here's an example. Okay, you mentioned looking into the eyes of an iguana, which I assume you've done. You actually have done that. You've looked into the eyes of an iguana, maybe?
And snakes.
And snakes as well.
I used to live with dozens of snakes.
So this is from social media. In the last 2 days, people have two different people did this. One of them said that she went on a hike and she introduced herself by name to some rocks. And I forgot what else. Rocks and hills. I forgot what the other word was, but I just was so tickled by that she would stop and acknowledge like their existence by introducing herself by name. And the other thing that my friend Liam did, he's an Irish professor of creative writing in the Chicago area. He I guess he went out in his backyard or somewhere near where he lives, and he made some marks using a black magic marker on some leaves of a tree that he hopes to get to know. He wants to name them, give them individual unique names, and get to know them before they die, which will be soon, if as leaves in autumn don't, linger around beyond December or January, especially in Chicago. So this is I feel there's an uptick. There's some kind of mist in the air that's maybe causing some of us, and I know a lot of sensitive artist-hearted people who, we may be the people who are going to be doing more and more things like that, befriending the non-English speaking, non-human things around us.
Well, everything
like
is
that.
sentient.
It makes me happy.
I'm all for the rocks. I talk to rocks all the time.
I love that Jeffrey appeared like a cheerleader for microbes, when he raised his fist. I imagined you holding pom-poms, microbes, rah, rah, rah. And why not?
Well, I have an iguana story too. I'm part of a shamanic journeying group, and we did a soul retrieval journey. And one part of the journey was you went to a place and looked for a spirit guide to send out to retrieve the soul that you were looking for, part of the soul. And much to my surprise, it was an iguana. And it's like I communicated with the iguana and sent the iguana out, and the rest of my journey it was part of my own soul that it was looking for and brought back to me. But what was amazing was that after the fact, I looked up iguanas and found that the iguana is a Mayan god that communicates with the world of the dead, and there's an in-between connecting link. So there.
I want to second that, because I dream sometimes about more than humans, and I dreamt about the iguana. I have a painting of it, and so I looked it up, and just to remind you, I grew up in South America, in spite of how I look and sound. And the iguana is the escort between the worlds, from life through to death, So it was really important for me, iguanas are really important and deserve a great deal of respect because it's a shitty job. Oops, sorry, we're recording, right?
It don't matter.
I think we can say that.
And then the other thing I have a response is that I think of myself as a verb. And so I have a lot of trouble with the nouns attached to all of the things that we're talking about, because I'm constantly changing and evolving, and they don't stick to me. I mean, I kind of look sympathetically when people treat me as such and such, but yeah, no, I'm a verb. Sorry, I'm Maureening, actually.
Yes, you are.
I have
Well,
a copy of that book, I Am a Verb, by Buckminster Fuller.
Oh.
Which I might, if times get hard, I might sell it for $100, but it's a beautiful book.
I
And
didn't
it's
know he'd written one.
I Am a Verb. Yeah, I thought you had gleaned that from him, Bucky Fuller.
No.
The
Wow.
architect and thinker. So yes, I very much align with your perspective there, Maureen.
And we don't, both of us hate to shop. So I'm with you.
Maureen, it may not seem like it from what I just read, but I align with that perfectly also. In some ways, a lot of what I think and write about is breaking taught preconceptions and ideas like that. That's sort of why I wrote about identifying as a mammal, which I do, but I also don't experience a static self. And so, which is very hard to talk about, but just meaning I'm very fluid in everything. So that's what a lot of this book is about, actually, that's just come out. So
Good. I can hardly wait to read it.
you might like a few things. But anyway,
Ooh, I like that. I don't experience a static self.
I
Thank
don't.
you. Thank
It
you.
took me a long time to figure that out.
Well,
Yeah.
same here. My hands up on that for sure. And I waver, just like I might have a, pink dress day. I might have a, green overalls day, or I might have I'm only eating caramel infused popcorn day. Like I don't want to be beholden, to those predilections, and eat that every day or dress that way every day. I'm really after my fully liberated selves, which means unpredictability and not being assumed to be one way consistently. Though I try to be that way with my friends. I try to be consistent for my friends. That's a thing to maybe talk about in the future. Soon I want
I was going to say, perhaps the consistency is what lies in our values.
mm.
And so for me, being kind to my friend is a value.
Lovely.
Holding space.
Yeah.
Unconditionally, for sure. I want to share my screen in a little while to share something, since we're on the, it seems that we're on this thing about humans and interactions with non-human forms. But I want to give somebody else a chance if they want to speak. Hello, Rita. Hello, Lorraine. Hope you feel welcome.
Well,
Hello, Kit.
if I could stitch
Hello.
iguanas and dreams together.
You want to stitch that? Do that stitch. Sure.
Okay. This is called, ironically enough, Iguana Dreams.
What? Perfect. Go for it. Thank you.
Beneath a clearing night sky, black velvet smudged with quick clouds, speckled stars, I fall asleep. To dream of sleeping on the floor, another woman and I, and a marine iguana. Thankfully, you aren't an alligator, I say.
Hmm.
I promise not to eat you, he replies. And we sleep. Only to arise, I did, before the dawn and to this day's showers.
Mm.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you.
Where did you see iguanas the most in your travels, Lorraine?
It depends on what kind of iguana.
Well, I mean, just generally speaking, since I don't know all the types. I mean, my
Well,
only
I mean, this is a marine iguana. Marine iguanas are only in the Galapagos.
yeah, nice, nice.
They're the
Were you about to say something else, Lorraine? Hmm. Okay, well, feel free to interrupt. I'm going to share my screen and just show a little bit of an experience I had back in I guess it must have been like 8 years ago, now that I think about it. And let's see if I can find the thing I want to share. I encountered an insect in a spider web, and I chose on that particular day, that particular instance, to try to save it, to get it off of the web and work with it. So yeah, it was 2013. So that's, oh my gosh, look at the date on that. September 12th, like almost exactly 10 years ago. Wow. In other news, I rescued a shiny black beetle from a spider web yesterday. It was an experiment to see if I had the patience and the ability to gently remove the web filament from around the beetle's body without hurting it. I succeeded. Only took about 2 hours, not continuous, but whatever. 2 Q-tip swabs, a plastic lid, some water, and surgical precision, and a paper clip. So there's a photo of it. Do you see the filament? It looks like it has a white furry belly. That's part of the filament. And it could not move its limbs for a long time, at least an hour. And I didn't want to crush it, putting pressure on its body to remove the filament. So I used water to kind of moisten whatever icky goo was being used as an adhesive to keep that filament wrapped around it. And I left it outside on the porch, and I'd go away and leave it alone and then come back and work on it a little bit and then go leave it alone because I didn't want it to be too traumatized. I'm sure it was shocking to its system to have a huge thing rubbing at it with this big white furry stick. And the leaves there are for, I don't know, comfort or security. Like you're on this big orange plastic lid, but also I wanted some nature around you. So it happened. I did take a couple of pics, but forgot to get one of the insects stuck in the web. If he hadn't wiggled his back leg, I would have just walked off and left him to be dinner for a spider. I'm sure the spider was confused. Yeah, beetle, ultra confused, like, WTF, who's moving me? Now I'm really gonna die. But then, whoa, this huge gentle giant with the huge hands, this big thing is doing stuff to me that makes me feel better. But next, what's that big fluffy thing coming at me? I know it would have sucked if one of the cats had eaten it right after I released the beetle to the wild, which I did, tall monkey grass along a fence, again. And oh, great, first I'm stuck in a web, and now I'm covered with white spider thread and can't move, and I'm covered with ants. When I left him unattended on the front porch for a few minutes, some ants came over. Yeah, he probably died of a heart attack right after I freed him in the grass, but I don't know. Seriously, my intolerance has grown to a new low ever since I myself was hopelessly trapped alone in a locked closet for 55 hours. Talk about vulnerability and frustration, combined with angsty dread that I might see the last of my living days in there. Once I emerged, alive but woefully exhausted and agoraphobic, I could not help but fixate on the idea of the many splendid living things who daily find themselves trapped, encaged, locked away, and tied to a fatalistic existence. When I heard on the radio one day a brief excerpt from the movie The Fly, I went into a near panic. The human scientist? Forever. How long does a fly stand to live? Embodied, that is, confined in the microbody or form of a flying insect. Okay, that's a little bit of a ramble there. But yes, I freed the guy, the thing, the it, the they, the we, from the filament, and it started to move its limbs again. And I felt accomplished, not heroic. And I would do it again, yes. A great use of 2 hours of my time as a less than perfect human mammal. Thank you.
I loved that story.
Yeah, it's an unpublished blog post, as you saw, and y'all got to see behind the scenes of my blog there. Because I don't know how that thing needs to be shared. I'm so happy I got to share it with y'all today this way. Do we have any other dream poems or comments? Do anybody have any more remarks about my beetle, save the beetle moment?
I'm glad you shared it. I feel like most people would sit there and go, well, why bother? But, you know, it's clear why.
I can really relate. A while ago, I was trimming a hedge and knocked a big black bee to the ground. And I thought I'd killed it. And I looked at it and thought, if this were my last minute, I wouldn't want to spend my last minute on concrete. So I found a purple flower and I gently put it in and put the flower up away from where the ants could get it, you know, and then I came back about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes later and looked to see, and the flower was empty. And so I was looking around to see if maybe it had rolled out. And as I was doing that, a large black bee flew around my head several times. I don't know if it was the same one, but I certainly felt encouraged to continue with that.
Oh, I love that. That's a beyond English communication. I love that.
Beyond.
I know,
Beyond.
I like it done.
Hey, welcome, Anita. We're having a conversation about relationships with things more than human or beyond human. We've talked about identity, and we were offering definitions of identity politics as a phrase, and we've talked about iguanas and experiences with insects. The theme is remembering your dream, recordando tus sueños, however you interpret that. Would there be anybody else wanting to read at this moment? Oh, Lorraine's coming back in. I guess they were gone.
I can read a poem, but it's in Spanish.
Oh, and it's in Spanish. No, but.
Mhm.
And it's in Spanish. Go for it, Rita, please. Thank you.
I just was like, oh, I have to translate it.
Oh, bother. We'll work on that later if anybody asks for help. Sure.
Okay, so let me pull it up because I didn't have it up and going. Sorry. So it's called En Camino a Casa.
Do you have it on screen, Rita, or just on paper?
I'm on my phone,
Oh,
so I don't know if I can share.
Oh, no, don't worry. Okay.
Let me see if that's even a possibility.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Hold on a second.
You're braver than me. I would be afraid of getting disconnected.
It says I have to use a certain app in order to share. Like,
Yeah, don't worry about it. I just.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's called En Camino a Casa. Lloré de amor y tristeza, del amor que me he perdido hacia mí misma, de no amarme como una vez, como alguna vez pude, queriendo encontrar amor ajeno, sin darme cuenta que el amor que me ha faltado está en mí. Triste por esperar que alguien llenara el vacío que me pertenece a mí a llenar. Y después encontrar a alguien que me acompañe en el camino de amor. Sanando heridas de mi juventud y niñez, reflexionando en cómo me he fallado y cómo he fallado a mis hijos con no amarme como debí. Que el amor que el amor que les debo no saldrá sin que me lo doy primero. No indica que no quiero compartir algún día mi vida con alguien, pero primero lo tengo que compartir con la joven y niña que una vez fui. Entonces las agarró de la mano para enseñarles cómo ser feliz.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I had never heard that one before.
Yeah, it was a recent poem I wrote last week.
Ooh. Do you want to, would any folks here benefit if we asked Rita, would it be okay to maybe give a, kind of a synopsis of what you were discussing?
So you could say that it is about dreaming because it's a poem talking about self-love and realizing that a lot of times you look for it externally, but it's inside of you, and realizing how in not loving myself, I failed loving my children, because you can't love yourself. You can't give love to others if you're not giving it to yourself. And it's also talking about reconnecting with the adolescent and child version of myself and showing them how to love. So it's like it's connecting to that, and there's dreaming in it because it's the dreaming of being a better person and loving self.
Thank you, Rita. That helps. I couldn't follow it that well, but I certainly knew it was a lot about love. And I caught a lot of the images, but not the total sense. No matter though. Mi español es no bueno, but occasionally I can pick up a lot. Mhm.
I'm glad that was helpful.
Yeah, now that I have a teenager living with me, I'm living for two and maybe loving for two, and so that piece resonated with me about the love you share with yourself also can benefit the people around you. And the love you share with yourself is about how you move through your day, in my opinion, how you move through your day, how you prepare meals for yourself, how you choose to navigate through challenges, keeping a sense of dignity around you. So thank you. I would love to hear from anybody else who hasn't spoken or read yet, if even a comment or something that's on your mind. Kit, I'm looking at you. Anita, welcome, looking at you. So feel free to chime in if you like.
I'm just out here enjoying listening. This is Kit. And yeah, I mean, very much enjoying it. I picked up on the invitation just while we were at dinner a little while ago. So thank you all for sharing. Appreciate it.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
I want to ask, is that a living tree behind you?
Yes, it is.
Ooh, what kind, may I ask?
I'm not really certain what it is.
It's a Dr.
Wow.
Seuss tree.
It's so sculptural. It's so sculptural. I love it.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah. Yeah.
I think Anita, you had your hand up. No need to raise hands. Just jump on in when you're ready. What do you have to share with us? Welcome.
Hi, hello. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. Awesome. I'm super excited to put a face, well, kind of in person to the name Tammy. You and I have interacted in the past through Ophelia,
True.
and we've not yet met or spoken in real time. But I'm excited to be here. I've been wanting to attend your other events in the past, and this is the first time that it worked out for me to get here. I mean, I know I'm a little bit late, but still. I do have a piece that I would like to share, and it does follow along with the concept of dreams and dreaming and remembering your dream. And the piece that I'm going to share with you all is it kind of speaks to more than one type of a dream. So it speaks literally about dreams that I have and remembering the actual dreams that I have when I wake up, but also it speaks to a dream that I have about wanting to heal generational trauma, wanting to heal traumas in my family line and my lineage, wanting to heal myself and my relationships with my family members. So it does speak to more than one type of dreaming, but this is actually the most recent piece that I wrote at the beginning of this month. It was really late or real early in the morning. It was about 4:30 in the morning, and I couldn't sleep, so I went to go wash my dishes, and it just kind of came to me then. But the song, the poem is called "Bleach in the Water."
Hmm.
When I miss my mom, I go wash my sink full of ever dirty dishes. When I miss my mom, I put a little bleach in the water, knowing it will sting and burn in the cracks of my cuticles, knowing my hands will be dry and itchy the next day, knowing that it will make my palms smell like hers. I do it anyway. When I miss my mom, I cook myself a big pan of migas. I throw in 2 extra corn tortillas out of spite for all the times she asked me, "Are you really gonna eat that much?"
Mm.
I pile my plate high and I wind up sharing half with my dog when I miss my mom. When I miss my mom, I sit with my knees up and cradle the caps. I stare down my thick ankles. I grip my wide thighs. My dad could only see and say, "Football player, you're built like a football player."
Mm.
My mom would coo, "A warrior woman. You're built like a big, strong warrior woman. No one's going to mess with you." When I miss my mom, oh no, she's not dead. She just lives in a time and place where I can no longer exist. I ran out of hope and rope to throw a long while back, but I keep my anchor deeply embedded in the ground in case one day she decides to fly the coop. When I miss my mom, I miss the woman I won't ever get to know, the woman she forgot, the woman who still is yet to bloom, my mom, the mender of so many thrift store clothes, the keeper of blacked eye and bruised neck secrets, the woman who tried her damnedest to build a home with the man whose mind was a hornet's nest, whose love often felt like stingers, whose words were constant confusion. In her mind, I know she fought him off us, even if it looked like cowering in the corner. My mom, whose Christian heart won't let her believe in her own magic, but I felt it when she ran her cool hands over the red welts on our bodies. You really think I'm a witch? She asks me. I know you are, I say with love. Your grandma on your mom's side was a witch, my dad declares, like it's a bad thing. When I miss my mom, I smile and breathe deep while I burn my yerbitas under the moon, say a little prayer for her, hold space in my heart for her. I am ready to stow her away should she ever make the run for it. In the meantime, I dream of blue glass windows, handmade curtains, and yellow flowers. When I miss my mom, I put a little bleach in my dishwater, knowing that it kills off all bacteria, the good and the bad, and hoping to one day meet her somewhere in the middle. Thank you.
This is wonderful. Thank you so much.
Mhm. That was amazing.
Yes, it was.
Anita, what a gift. Thank you. That's, I mean, so glad to meet your voice. What a beautiful piece. Thank you, Anita.
Thank you all for letting me share.
Mhm.
I really appreciate it.
I hope you feel good sharing it. I hope it's not too sad for you.
No, I think at this point in my life, I'm learning to accept that there's always going to be the sadness with the happiness when it comes to certain, relationships in my life, and so being able to write and being able to share what I write is a beautiful way for me to process it, and so I thank you all for holding space for me to be able to do that.
I want us to raise up our hands in applause, welcoming
Mhm.
Anita. Such a
Yes.
brave voice there. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, you introduced your mom, but you introduced yourself and your life so greatly there.
Now I wonder if my dishes could be cleaner. Because I don't use bleach, but you know what I do? And I told this to the teen who's now living with me, my nephew, that I'm just this way. The dish has to pass the squeak test. It has to squeak before I put it in the dish rack to dry. So I do like a clean dish.
Now
What
I
does he
really
say? What does he say? How does he answer?
now I really want some migas.
Oh, that sounds good with extra tortillas. Two of
But
them.
they don't have them out here. I don't think I've ever seen migas in a restaurant in California, which is
Mm.
maybe they're borderland stuff. I don't know. I haven't had migas in 20 years probably.
Oh, that's sad. Oh,
I don't think they're here.
dream
I
of migas. Anita, I just want to let you know that the folks who meet for these monthly readings, the Recordando poetry series, we're all over the country and the planet. So we're not all based in DFW, and I love that about us because this allows folks to come in from different parts of the planet and then also share their perspectives on what might be going on in their world that we need to hear about. And yeah, feel free to invite others to meet us. We're here on the third Saturday of the month. And I'm going to confess that I'd completely forgotten that this was the third Saturday of the month until Richard, thank you, Richard, called me from Oakland, CA, to ask me if it was still happening. that's how busy I've been, very distracted with other things, but I didn't want to let you down, and I always enjoy being here. And look at how many showed up last minute. Invitations really can be a thing unto themselves. Who would like to read next? We're on a roll here. Let's keep it going.
Mhm.
I have something I can share, which is only tangentially or whatever connected here. For the first 6 or 7 years of my daughter's life, every night after we kissed her goodnight, when we went to the door and shut out the light, we said, "Remember your dreams." And then we'd ask her the next day about what dreams she'd had. And my wife and I were reading a neurolinguistic programming book early in her life. And a year or so ago, last year, my daughter, who's now 37, wow, how'd she get so old? but she asked me about neurolinguistic programming, and I had all these books up here. And so when she come home for Christmas, I went and looked at the books. And inside of one of the books, I found these pieces of paper. And the pieces of paper had a date on it. It was when my daughter was 3 years and a month old. And we had done this neurolinguistic programming exercise, what we want Rebecca to learn in her life. And so I'm just going to share it. As a youngster, we want Rebecca to learn to trust, to love, concern for others, self-respect, honesty, attentiveness to the world, self-discipline, intellectual curiosity, love of music and movement and beauty, and spiritual disciplines. As a teenager, awareness of others' perspectives, awareness of poverty and injustice, skills in some experience of art, music, dance, friendly concern for the environment. As a young adult, satisfaction in her work, how to deal with long-term relationships, commitment to social justice, financial responsibility. As an adult, the ability to accept what is as the basis for transformation. So I got to share this with her 30 some odd years after I'd written it, and she's done a damn good job. So.
Well done, Dad.
Probably
Where
means
does-
you did a damn good job encouraging her to remember her dreams.
Where does she live?
She's currently living in Brooklyn, although she was in San Francisco for a while doing working in medical technology, innovative medical technology stuff. And now she's working for herself as a career coach for women in tech.
Maybe she could meet up with Richard or go to his reading in New York.
I've thought of that. She doesn't do what I say very often, but I can give her the information.
Well, she is in her late 30s. I don't know if she needs to obey. I'm gonna go try to find my notebook again. I'm gonna be gone for like 30-45 seconds, but please carry on. I'll be back. Sorry, I just have to find that book. I'll be back.
Kit, where I'm wondering where everyone is. Kit, where are you?
Fort Worth, Texas,
Uh-huh.
just a few blocks away from Tammy.
I mean, I know that a lot of folks here are, but not all the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm usually in Oakland. Mhm.
I also am in Fort Worth.
Mm-hmm. I met Tammy in Austin, though, many years ago. I used to live there.
I'm in Dallas. So
Mm-hmm.
What area in Dallas? Dallas is a big city.
yeah, it really is. I'm in Oak Cliff.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Oak Lawn. Lived in Oak Lawn for a long time. Went to El Centro College.
I worked there. I worked at El Centro for about 5 years.
Oh, me too. I loved it. I worked for Dr. Betty Worley there many years ago, and it was a wonderful experience. And as a matter of fact, I just returned from a visit from a woman I met there in the sociology department. And we went up to see her. My partner and I went up to meet Claire Hanrahan, who's quite the writer, and a wonderful gal. And she was originally from Memphis, and we met up with her, and we went zip lining for the first time.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it was a great time, yeah. But we've known each other. We figured out we've known each other since about 1974, and,
Wow.
and that's where we met, El Centro College in Dallas.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where are you from, Miss Maureen?
I'm currently in Los Angeles for a few months, and I live in Fort Worth.
You do? What
Yes.
area?
I live just over the border from Keller.
Okay. We have to get together.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Yes, absolutely.
I won't be back until the end of October, but
Well, like I say, Tammy knows where how to get hold of me.
great.
Maybe we can all get together and share some of our experiences when you get back. That'd be great. I would love that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Kit is also a therapist, Maureen.
I used to be an expressive arts therapist.
Wow.
I go to one.
Believe me, I did go to several,
Right.
starting when I was like, I don't know what, 25 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Took a while. Yeah.
Now I just come here. You know, I tell all my like literary fellows out here in Oakland that there's only one reading I go to on a regular basis, and they always go, "Well, where's that?" And I say, "Texas."
Oh, they think Texas is cool?
They're just confused by that.
Oh, really? I guess they might be.
Oh, Kit, Rita Vigil is also a therapist.
Oh, super.
A lot of therapists in the house.
You bet. Yeah. Well, there's two of them in my house.
So I have a piece I want to read, but I don't want to take up too much space. If somebody would like to read first, I'm happy to go after that next person. Anita, I hope you have another piece to share. That's my personal hope there.
I do. It's a bit shorter, but I do have another one I would be more than happy to share.
Yeah, are you ready? I'm gonna sip my beer while you drink, while you read.
Yeah,
Go for it.
absolutely.
Thank you, Anita.
Okay, let's see here.
You go, Anita.
And I found my book. I found my book. Phew.
Yay.
And my beer.
All right. So let's see here. I can't go wrong with books and beers.
Yeah.
That's a-
Oh, I want to say, I think Lorraine is gone again. I think she has on again, off again issues with connectivity,
Oh,
internet.
dear.
So if she might pop back up. Okay. I'm sorry, Anita. Go ahead.
No worries. Okay, so this one I wrote, I admittedly have my struggles with sleeping at night rather. I can nap pretty much anywhere that I'm at, especially during the day, but like when it comes to the nighttime, sleep just escapes me all of the time. So this I wrote on a night that there was a particularly full moon, and this one is called A Strange Loneliness. This full moon is borrowing my sense and my sleep. But what a beauty she is. I might let her make me feel this way forever.
Hmm.
This is very familiar. This is the love that I call my bedfellow. The frantic fingertips, do I point them? Do I use them to weave dreams? Do I stretch them to write out these thoughts? Instead, I pull at my hair. I hold the soft flesh of my belly, try a little harder to swallow the lump in my throat. I lay out under her beams, give in as she pulls the tides in my eyes closer, ride the waves, float in the lull and the glow of her round face. And I feel the peace and the panic. And for the first time since I was a child, I shy away from the dark night and pray for the morning.
Woo,
Thank you.
that was lovely. Anita, do you have a job where you have to get up in the morning, like most people?
No, I work for myself. I'm an event coordinator. So a lot of my work I can do at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning.
I just asked because I'm up much of the night, much of the time, and I do also work for myself, and it's like my favorite time of day because it's so quiet.
Mhm.
Me too.
Yeah, same.
I found a dream poem, but only if it's okay to read one more thing. It's like 1 minute long. I feel like
Oh,
I kind of
yeah.
hijacked the beginning of the night tonight. So
No, please go for it.
okay. The nice thing about this new book is that like the last one was almost all social justice type poems, and which is a very predictable tone. But this one has like everything in it, and I like that. This is a 1 minute poem, and it does something unusual for me, which is rhyme.
Oh.
A little sleep. Sometimes I have a little sleep, and in the middle of a deep crevasse, the room begins to shake, and all the walls are gone. And there I am, or am I not, amidst the universal glot, a jelly or a juice perhaps, upon a silver tray that has no edge or light or mass, but is a song we sometimes pass in the street or in bed or on mountain tops without noticing. And as that song begins to fade into a different parade of scents, I melt and find myself atop a talling tree that stands alone upon a vast plateau and lets my vision cast a far, far ribbon to the lastly lighted sea.
Lovely.
Sometimes you just have to write pretty. I mean, I really think it's important to just write pretty sometimes, you know, because what else are we here for? Well,
That was beautiful.
yeah, besides surviving.
And see, that's part of your identity as well. Pretty poetry.
Mm-hmm. Just don't say that's all I write because I get mad.
No, never.
Could you repeat the part about, is it jelly and jam? Could you repeat
Oh,
that line?
yeah.
Oh, yes, I love this, Anita. We do this all the time in this
Mhm.
series. Totally make requests, ask for confirmation, rereadings of things. Yes, thank you. Do that thing.
Yeah, it's a dreamlike image. I could read the whole sentence, but it goes, it's sort of after I'm asleep, and there I am, or am I not, amidst the universal glot. I'm not sure if glot's a word, but it sounds like it is. A jelly or a juice, perhaps, upon a silver tray that has no edge or light or mass, but is a song we sometimes pass in the street or in bed or on mountaintops without noticing. I just loved how it went from image to image. But yes, it's a, I say I'm amidst the universal glot, and I call myself a jelly or a juice, perhaps. So that's fluidity for you right there.
I love that.
The meaning of glot, I guess it's like a, what do you call it? You know, like polyglot is
Oh, yeah.
having knowledge of or using languages.
How funny. I just say the universal glot. So the universal language of dream, maybe. I don't know.
Perfect.
Things like
Perfect
that.
word.
Things like that occur to me when I'm writing as well. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell that means, but I'll unpack it later and I write it down. And then
Right.
unpacking it later, it's like, wow, it was, I mean, that's part of the poetic alchemy that some of us practice, where just this kind of lingual gibberish comes out. And I don't question it when it happens to me. I feel like there's a reason why it came out that way, and I can unpack it later and maybe rationalize it or explain it if I have to or need to my audiences. But yeah, we should not do away with that alchemy, because that's part of the magic of that, the magic we have access to as word artists. So yes to that. Yes.
I think I have something to read. It's
Oh, lovely. Yes,
You have
Maureen.
you have
Who's
a
your
dog.
baby? Tell us about your baby a little.
what the one that was just licking my chin.
Yeah, that one. Yes.
Yeah, I'm actually dog sitting, which I do
Oh.
regularly. Yeah,
Ah.
it's my daughter's. This is a real challenge. I've never read this to anyone, and it's not pretty. The door creaked open onto the darkened bedroom as two little sisters huddled together in the doorway. One of them toddled towards the sleeping figure. Mama, I had a bad dream. I roll over and stretch out my arm to enfold her shivering little body and draw her and her sister into my warm bed. My arms closed on nothing, and I woke with a start. As I groggily look around the room at the closed door, my brain desperately sorts out the dream from reality. With reality comes despair that colors every day a bad dream. To the lonely sound of the foghorn out on the bay, I prepare to get up and endure another day without them.
Oh.
Each day stretches out into a gray landscape that I numbly navigate. I walk through my life like a ghost, starting out at a world I no longer recognize. Staring out. Solid cement steps seethe like ants' nests. The ground in the park moves as sobs pass through it, with sounds too large for my small body. Only the sound of children's voices pierce the blanket that grief has thrown over me as it guides me towards the edge. Each day feeling a little more dissolved. I wish I could finish it and go completely mad.
Oh my gosh. That line.
You got the goosebumps on that one. Yeah.
Thank you.
Each day feeling a bit more dissolved. Ugh. Devastating.
Thanks for sharing that, Maureen.
That was my daughters had been kidnapped.
Oh
And so that was what I was trying to endure. Happily, the dog you just saw is owned by the grown-up daughter, and they're both alive and well and having good lives. So, and I see them. So
my gosh.
Thank goodness.
That's a very welcome footnote.
Thank you. Yes, yes, it is.
Thank you.
Now, if we could only see the daughter in the Zoom in the Zoom meeting too, then it'd be a very happy reunion.
You know, should you ever consider publishing that or submitting it, you might consider putting a footnote at the bottom.
it actually goes on. It's just half of the first page.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because then it goes on to talk about my soon-to-be ex-husband took them to Australia, where he was from. And so I kind of cataloged the whole thing, you know.
May I ask how long that experience lasted?
We were away from each other 3 months.
Oh.
But we got through it.
Oh my gosh. That takes such strength, emotional courage and strength.
I want to say that when we came back to the airport in those days, you know, anyway, I was going through immigration and the immigration officer said, "What was your purpose abroad?" So I told him, and he said, "Did you get him? Did you get him?" And I said, "See those two little girls playing over there?" And he went, "Yay!"
Aw.
Oh my God.
Wonderful.
Hmm.
Mm.
And my friends wonder why I go to Texas every month.
We're not in Texas anymore. This is a different alchemical dream poetry location.
Hmm.
Beautiful. Thank you. This is I'll say this is my birthday month. Not that this is about me at all, but yeah, this is feeling like a very special episode this time together with you. Thank you. Every month is special, but we got some newbies in the space, and that means a lot. Thanks for reading that, Maureen. Thank you. You feel okay having read it? It's okay. You're okay now?
I just want to say that that's twice I've read something that I never thought I would. So there's something about the space that you create that makes it safe. So thank you.
I
Thank you
agree.
very much.
That's kind of why I read that thing at the beginning, because which really made me vulnerable. I felt like, you know, I was like, I'm going to do that anyway here. And here's a birthday card for you.
Oh, thank you.
That's our Tammy.
I did do that. I was born. Yes. I'm still navigating through some grief and the aftermath of a long spring and early summer of loss and deep emotional challenges, and getting to experience firsthand what being in the hospital healthcare system can be like as a family member of a patient, the patient being my brother. So that's real. That's always in my backdrop. So even though I may not be crying or talking about it in front of you or to you, it's there. It's still very very recent and very very strong in my bloodstream right now. And the way that my that things manifest, I mean, not manifest, the way ideas emerge and come out, really, I'm just a witness here. that's another thing as part of my identity. I'm witnessing what my body does or what my personality chooses on a given day. So I'm pretty much a witness on the inside of this body. And it's kind of neat to witness what my body or my mind does sometimes. So I was on an airplane or where was I? I think I was on an airplane and I wrote this. And I imagined it as a screenplay for a film that might never get made. So I'm going to take you through that scene that I wrote. So there are kind of directions, stage direction or film cinematic directions that are included in this. Audio. A baby cries a melancholic love song. Lights up on string of human teeth in micro lens close-up. At first, we think we see them as bits of bacon gristle drying outside a smokehouse. Backdrop is footage of slew of cars lined up, streaming bumper to bumper across the Oakland or Golden Gate Bridge at night. Tiny little cars. Or rush hour traffic along a freeway. The moving vehicles look like tiny match cars. Cut to a bear knocks politely on a cabin door, asked if Christopher McCandless is home. Audio. Baby crying again, faintly in sync with the sound of an escalator cascading to the lower level. Cut to disappointed bear dawdles outside the cabin, pitching empty miniature 7.5 fluid ounce cans into a pile. Audio. Owl or squirrel in branch of nearby tree tisks its disapproval. Cut to bear slowly rises and shrugs, tries the knocker, pushes open the actually unlocked front door, but walks away with unexplainable disinterest. It is time to leave. Cut to gently swaying teeth hanging on the line. Wind or self-propulsion causes some of them to swing vociferously as if building momentum enough to propel and pitch themselves off of the line. In fact, a number of them, one by one, slowly at first, but then more confidently with gusto, hop down from the line. We see them cascading vertically through space. Audio. Squeeze toys and clunky, crumpled toy cars, mashing like empty Coke cans, accompanies this downward spree of the teeth. The teeth land on a long section of bright red sandpaper. Sandpaper tooth dance. Each tooth soft shoes along the sandpaper surface, scuffing and sanding their uneven edges. End of scene.
Wow.
So I'll just say as a kind of a little footnote, as a poet-minded person, sometimes those portals to a different place and way open up. And it's like when elevator's doors open and you don't enter the elevator, you're not meant to, but you see something. And then they start to slowly close. You can choose to just turn away and go put bleach in the water and wash dishes or feed your nephew or walk your dog or nuzzle a partner, or you can describe and it's like fulfilling the promise of that glimpse that you got. And a lot of us put time and effort into doing that, And I was on an airplane when that occurred to me. I did not see falling teeth. I wasn't thinking about, I mean, there were no bears up there, but all of that was the glimpse, was in that glimpse. And I hurriedly wrote it down. Quickly wrote it down before it evaporated. Because in the poetic mind and poetic creating process, there is much evaporation. And much of what comes to us evaporates before it makes it onto the page or the computer document. And each of us, each of you here has chosen to take deep glimpses into the elevator before the doors close and to keep or hold on to a little bit of what you felt or experienced in that glimpse. And that's monumentally important work. Unpaid labor mostly. But I'm here to value it with you every month. And that is never going to be a waste of my time. Punto.
Those teeth, though.
I thought about your book of the book you wrote about your teeth, Richard, but this was not like an homage to you.
No, it wasn't
hadn't just read
related.
your book, but I mean, we can have a zillion different tooth poems and tooth cinematic episodes to
There
write.
are really, loose teeth are such an archetypical thing, and they don't have a specific meaning, really. I mean, you can say they do this and that, but just like the image in there was so emotional, and you kept wondering what's going to happen to them, and they land on red sandpaper, and fuck.
And they start tap dancing. They're scuffing, doing a soft shoe, tap dancing on that rough paper.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw nothing else in that moment. That was what I saw in that moment. I mean, like in my mind's eye. And I was eating like, Delta airline peanuts and drinking a Coke. Like, I don't like, just some of these episodes are so random and so gorgeous and illuminating.
You were illuminated.
I have a poem that I could read since the theme is dreams.
Yes, please. Thank you, Rita.
And it's a poem I haven't shared so anywhere. And it actually was a real dream I had. It's called Wedding Dreams. I dreamt of you last night. Dreams of our wedding. My dress was so beautiful. The scenery was divine. I felt beautiful next to you. You were beautiful too. Your handsome looks in a gray suit, tall with caramel skin and a smile that made me smile. You held my hand and I felt loved. I loved the way you loved me. Holding on to my waist, I felt cared for. You loved me, not my body. And when I climbed in your lap, you attentively asked what I wanted. I wanted you. I needed you. You gazed your eyes upon me, playfully asking if I was sure. Then slowly kissed my neck, enticing me for more. I was yours, you were mine. You gave yourself so freely to me. The love that flowed between us was so unusual to me, and it made me love you more. Alas, the dream had to end. I woke longing to be near you again, praying that soon my dream would be my reality.
Wow.
Yeah, so much longing in that.
Mm-hmm.
Very much.
I hope this isn't offensive, but I just want to share. I dreamt once and it's a very pivotal dream because it's so me. I was in a wedding dress on top of a billiards table, like a pool table, on all fours, and I was headbutting a multi-tiered wedding cake.
That's
So
funny.
I that was the dream. I was on that table headbutting this gorgeous, highly expensive white icing, like at least 3-tiered cake with my head. I just and Rita, I want to do that as a performance, but I need a big grant because that cake's gonna cost a lot of money.
I bet.
You know, Tammy, if nothing else, that dream officially makes you an iconoclast.
It felt so good. And it was in Scandinavia, and I was with a family member, a very young family member, and there were some amazing pastries inside a vending machine. So I don't know. Somebody want to analyze that for me? I don't. But I love love, and I love people who love, and I don't disparage marriage. But I still love the idea of headbutting a wedding cake.
It sounds
And
like
I will do it. I will do it, even if I have to do it on Zoom with a paper mache cake. I will do it.
By all means, let us
Be cheaper to
know.
do a piñata cake.
Piñata cake. That might hurt a little bit. Paper mache, yeah, you're same thing, yeah. Well, I don't know. I'll take all ideas, suggestions. So I guess Lorraine didn't come back. I didn't get to say goodbye to her. I hope she's okay. Did anybody get a back a message about her leaving, having to leave? Okay. Well, I'll check in with her later. But she's one of our regulars. So Anita and Kit, this is probably good for you to know. We have a lot of regular attendees who are here like every month, and so we've become kind of like a little family of poet and poetry lovers. So yeah, feel free to become a regular attendee, and if you're not, that's okay. And you can come and go as you please. Some people can't stay for the entire 2 hours. Can you believe it? We've been together almost 2 hours already. It's felt like nothing. I mean, if it's felt like everything, and also it hasn't felt like 2 hours. So yes, make this part of your monthly experience every third Saturday, 8 to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. And you can come to listen, or you can come to listen and share, or you could just come to read and read and read. All of those ways are wonderful. And the chat, anything in the chat can be shared with, what I'm trying to say is I can save the chat and share it with you later if that interests you. And I'm going to stop recording unless somebody else has something to end this evening with, like something official sounding or a poem. Otherwise, I'll stop recording and we can do some unofficial chatting. Does that sound clear?
Mhm.
Yeah, yes.
Y'all have been wonderful. This has been a beautiful, beautiful experience, and I really
always love it. I'll miss you next month, even though I'll be doing a reading, and I may try to steal Ernesto from New York to come to that if he will. So
I hope you two get to meet up. Ernest Garcia is often here. He was stuck on in a traffic jam on the FDR. Where is that in New York?
Today?
Yeah, right before we were supposed to start, and he said the traffic was really bad, but he wanted to join us, but I guess he didn't make it. I'll see you next month. Thank you all.